Good morning and welcome back to the homestead. If you're new with us, my name is Jessie. This morning, I fed my starter. It's a little full. This is Amish friendship bread starter. And I used to make it quite often, but I haven't made it much in the last few months because of my healthy lifestyle. And I haven't made it for friends or family lately. So my starter's full to the top, which means I need to either throw some away or use a little bit. Well, it's been rainy all morning. The sun just popped out, but it's too muddy to go work outside. So I think it'd be a great day to make some banana bread. And I've got one video before with banana bread, but I thought I'd do another one and maybe get you a little more up close. And this one has pecans in it instead of walnuts. So stick around and let's make some banana bread. Okay, so I've got on my favorite old apron because I have to protect my t-shirt. I have all of my ingredients laid out in advance, and I even made myself a little cheat sheet so that I don't forget to tell you a specific ingredient that you might need for this. So, here's how we're going to start off at first. I'm going to use my KitchenAid mixer. You can hand mix this. I've done it several times. I've actually only had this mixer for a little over a year. Everything was hand done before that, so feel free. Get out your bowl, get out your spoon. It's super easy. First thing we're going to use is we need 1 cup of starter. If you look, it's bubbly and happy. Hopefully you can see it without me spilling it out. So we're going to go ahead and dump that in. The silicone spatula makes sure that you don't leave a bunch in the measuring cup. Alright, next we need a cup of oil. Any oil will do. Hopefully you can see okay. I think I say that in every video. It's been a while since we've been in the kitchen. Most of our work's been outside. Next we need a cup of sugar. Easy peasy. Cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm not used to having it out like this. I kind of like it. After our cinnamon, we're going to add 1/2 of a cup of milk. And this cup of milk is actually fresh milk, but any milk's fine. Canned milk, store milk, whatever you've got is fine. Let's see, after our milk, we're going to add 3 eggs is what the recipe calls for, but I'm getting duck eggs right now. So we're going to use 2 duck eggs. Duck eggs are excellent for any type of baking, especially cakes, but I like using them in this bread as well. So let's use that. They're a little bit tougher and harder to crack. You kind of got to give it a little more effort. The shells are really thick. So instead of 3 chicken eggs, I'm using 2 duck today. But remember, you don't have to have duck. You can use chicken. Duck eggs are just richer. All right. After the eggs, I'm going to add, I always just throw my baking soda and my baking powder in. So we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And you can put it in with your dry ingredients, but since I'm dumping all this in the same bowl, including the flour, let's throw it in there. It's always been fine, never had a problem. So we have our starter, our oil, our sugar, our cinnamon, our milk, our baking soda, and our baking powder, and our eggs. I'm going to throw in a little vanilla. We make our own vanilla, or I make our own vanilla here. This vanilla is probably about 1.5 years old. Just a teaspoon is what it calls for, but I think vanilla is one of those things where you just let your, whatever looks good. Okay, got our vanilla in. Now I have some crushed bananas. There's 2 crushed bananas here. And these are older bananas, starting to turn brown, so it's a good day to use them. Get that out of the way. And let's see if we have anything else. Pinch of salt. Sometimes I forget the salt, and it's fine, but I just do a little pinch. If you want to be specific, I think it calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I just pinch it. Okay, we need a small pack of pudding. Any type of pudding is fine. This happens to be banana cream pudding, and it's just Walmart brand. Now, I'm not going to add my pecans or my flour yet, but it calls for 2 cups of flour. But sometimes these bananas are just really moist, and then if you add anything else in, like if you mix any other fruit, like strawberries or blueberries or anything, it's going to have even more moisture in it. So this is 2 cups that I measured out into this cup. I'm not depending on this because I know it's a liquid measure. And then I have an extra little bit of flour here, up to a cup, in case I need it. Typically, whenever I do the banana bread, it's usually almost 2.5 cups of sugar. It's been rainy all morning. Believe it or not, weather systems do have an effect on your bread. It doesn't hurt just to have a little extra just in case. Okay, I'm going to turn you so you can see this better. Okay, I think I got you about as close as I can get you. A little awkward for me, but hopefully good for you. I want you to be able to see well. All of my wet and semi-wet ingredients, like the pudding is considered dry, but are all in the bowl. I'm going to add my attachment. I'm going to lower. And then typically when I start it, I cover it with a towel because it can be messy at first. So we're going to just give it a second. There you go. It likes to splash out even on low. We're going to let this combine really well. I've got my flour on the wrong side. As you can see, it's starting to combine. Everything looks great. So I'm going to add a little bit of the flour. And make a mess. Now keep in mind, this is an Amish friendship bread starter. If you don't have this starter, I understand a lot of people don't, or if you don't have a friend, you can look it up on Google or Pinterest, and it's super simple to start. This particular starter is about 5.5 years old almost, and it is super tough and super forgiving. It looks pretty good. Now let's check it. You don't want to overbeat it, but you want to make sure you have enough. It's still pretty. I think it wouldn't hurt to add just a little bit more. I'm going to do... Oh, look, my phone went off. All right. A little bit of flour went wild, but it's all right. I have local grown pecans that I buy from a friend. I put them in their hole because it kind of grinds up on its own anyway. And we like them pecany and chunky. Typically this would be 1/2 cup to a cup. I just eyeball it with my hand and throw in whatever I think looks good. I would say that's pretty good. Looks good to me. Let's get it in the pan. Okay, I have 2 greased loaf pans, and I have my oven preheated at 325 degrees. Typically, the recipe calls for about 1 hour of baking time, but I give it up to 1 hour and 10, even 1 hour and 15 minutes sometimes. I start checking the bread at about 1 hour. We're going to get this off of here. Better lock it. And again, use your silicone spatula, get all that off of there. For those of you that cook and post videos, do you ever find that you make way more messes? I do. It's like, oh look, just go slinging across there, it's fine. Okay. So release the bowl. I'll have to wipe it off now. I'm going to go ahead and scrape my edges of my bowl down just to make sure all the flour's in. Give it a good zhuzh. Give it some muscle. Everything's in good. Okay. It's a good thick batter. That's a good thing. You can actually multiply this recipe. I've done 5 times the recipe to make 10 loaves before. And it works fine as long as you've got a bowl big enough. And of course, when I make that much, I have to hand do it because the mixer can't handle that. These are going to be some big loaves. Generally, I would get out a muffin tin and maybe make some muffins to go with it, but I don't think that's necessary today. Okay, nice and cleaned out. You have a couple of options here. You can sprinkle some cinnamon over the top. You can sprinkle some sugar over the top. Or you can just leave it, which is what I'm going to do. So, they're ready to rock. We're going to put it in the oven for 1 hour and see how she looks. Maybe just a few more minutes. Let's give it 3 more. There it is. Looks pretty good. Well, friends, there you have it. It doesn't take much at all. Awful yummy. I won't be eating any, but I got a feeling some neighbors are going to get a loaf, and when Daddy gets home from work, there'll be some here waiting for him. So it'll be a nice treat for a rainy day. Clouds are back, and it's getting ready to kick back in. So, hopefully. So thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to do what you can right where you are.
Psalms 34, verse 8, O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him.
Bye.